Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hey. What's up? What's up out there in sports land? Welcome to another episode of On the Cutting Room Floor. I'm the host, Tony Ray Harvey, and yes. I'm podcasting here from the southwest part of Sacramento, the Greenhaven Pocket area. Thank you for tuning in to the show. Okay. Let's get right down into it, because the Zach LaVine era starts now. And as we all know, De'Aaron Fox was traded to the San Antonio Spurs over the weekend for 3 draft picks. His 8-year reign here in Sacramento has come to an end. And we all wish him good luck, good blessing. Thank you for everything. Appreciate the whole time that you was here since 2017 when you were drafted by the Sacramento Kings in the 2017 NBA draft with the number 5th pick overall. We're getting there. Anyway, so Zach LaVine will be here in Sacramento playing against the Orlando Magic February the 5th. That game started at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. That will be his debut in front of the fans, spectators at Golden One Center. So we're all looking forward to that. So right now, that's the only thing that I'm looking forward to as far as moving forward. We all know the situation that that's going on with De'Aaron Fox, and that will take care of itself. So we have to take care of business on this side, journalistically, as reporters, to welcome this man here to the city of trees. But before I get into that, Sacramento Kings did win tonight, 116-114. They beat the Minnesota Timberwolves to end their 6-game road trip. So they went 2-4 on this very, very strange journey, but they got through it. Of course, they lost the other night, 144-110 to the Oklahoma City Thunder. That was a really bad loss. You can tell by the reaction of interim coach Doug Christie, but they seemed to bounce back and got back on track. Now, I know I was saying, they were 0-2 once we found out the news that De'Aaron Fox, the Kings front office, were exploring a trade with him. So that didn't happen. They were 0-2. Well, now we're going to just scrap that. Okay, we're going to start all over. Now they're 1-0 as he had moved on to the San Antonio Spurs. So that is a good start. They did it on the road, so hopefully they come back, and pick it up and play against a tough playoff-bound team in Orlando Magic. So the Kings are now 25-24 on the season. They creep back up to 12-12, so they're back at 500 on the road, and it's looking promising here. We could talk about the trade and what they got out the deal. Oh yeah, and Jordan McLaughlin was shipped off to San Antonio along with De'Aaron Fox, and Kevin Huerter, as part of the trade, was shipped off to the Chicago Bulls. So his time here has ended as well. So we could talk about what they got back in the draft. In the trade with the picks. But it still looked like they might be making some more movement. At least that's what I'm gathering. At least that's what I'm gathering at this point. The trade deadline is not until February 6th, so there's still time to make a move to improve the roster, what they have. The good thing about it, they do have Zach LaVine, to push on. So I'm pretty sure the goal is still to make the playoffs. And it doesn't seem like there's going to be, a breakup in a rebuilding stage at this point, especially when you bring in someone the caliber of Zach LaVine. So things still look promising. I think the Kings can still do, some damage as far as this next half of the season. 25-24. They still in the pack. I think they just moved back into the 10th spot in the Western Conference. Check on that. But hey, this, that's all we've been talking about. We've been talking about this. At least I have been talking about this. This is a business. this is a business. So we saw the other entertainment side tonight as far as the Kings winning. And they took care of business in that aspect as well. Okay, let's see. Keegan Murray. Oh, well, let's start right here. DeMar DeRozan had 33 points tonight. He had 5 rebounds, 7 assists. Malik Monk had 26 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. DeMontis, 14 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists. And Keegan Murray in 40 minutes, 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 1 assist. I didn't really get a chance to get really deep into the game. It's been an extremely busy day. My time was at the state capitol, but I was keeping tabs on the game while I was there. But I can tell you right now, yeah, it really doesn't matter. But it appears that the starting 5, including Keon Ellis, who had 13 points, starting 5 played 34 minutes or more each player, with the highest going to 42, and that's Malik Monk. So Malik only had 6 minutes of rest. See, and then when you go to the bench, they did get 23 minutes out of Trey Lyles, 5 points, 8 rebounds. Isaac Jones got a few ticks in there, 4 points in 12 minutes. Devin Carter, he got 8 minutes of tick time in there, 2 points and 5 rebounds. So that's what went down with the Kings. And they also used the service of Doug McDermott tonight to get this win on the road. So I'm not going to really recap the game, quarter, how things turned out. I think they are now 2-2 against the Timberwolves this season. Naz Reid had 30 points for the Timberwolves. Jay McDaniel had 22 points. Anthony Edwards, 21 points. And Rudy Gobert had 19 points. Mike Conley only had 5 points, but he had 9 assists. And they didn't get that much from their bench either. But none of that matters. Sacramento Kings, they got the win. So I am right now is going to move forward with the Zach LaVine era in Sacramento. Zach has been in the league going on 11 years. I do remember when the Kings brought him in. He only played 1 year at UCLA. He is from Seattle, Washington. I do remember when the Sacramento Kings brought him in to work him out at the old practice facility out there in North Thomas, near what was Arco Arena, Sleep Train Arena, whatever you want to call it this day. It no longer exists. And just a shy young man, really handled the press pretty well after his workout when we spoke with him. We thought there had been maybe a chance, that they can get this guy. But he went to the Minnesota Timberwolves with the 13th pick overall in the 2014 draft. And I want to say, so did Doug McDermott. I think he went in that draft. Am I not mistaken, so did Nick Stauskas. The Kings took Nick Stauskas, with a higher pick. So, and plus that the Kings had offered him $80 million a few years ago to come here to play. It was an offer sheet, but he took the deal with the Chicago Bulls and he ended up playing with them. And I think he played there for about 8 seasons, from 2017 to 2025. Well, basically 7 seasons because it's only a little over a month in the 2025 year. So, but he's on his way to play for the Sacramento Kings, and he's been a king killer. We do know that, especially in that last game that they played in Chicago, that Kings were able to pull out and win. He had 36 points in that game. I think he probably averaged about 30 points a game on the Kings. But the thing here with this 6'5", 200-pound shooting guard, because he did put up all-star numbers up until this point, is that he will be playing with DeMar DeRozan, who he played with for the last 2.5 seasons in Chicago. And the reason I say 2.5 seasons, because the second half of last season, Zach LaVine was injured, so he didn't get a chance to finish that out with him. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Of course, I have some reservations about those two playing on the floor, but appears that, DeMar DeRozan is welcoming him with open arms, which he should do, because DeMar is a professional and he's going to be playing with them in a different uniform. They're both going to be in the same uniform this time. But I think everything should work out, because I don't think these guys, they're not here to lose. They're not here to lose. They are here to win. And that's the only thing that they're thinking about right now. Right? The Aaron Fox thing, that's over. That's over. As a matter of fact, the way I see it, the front office did what was best for the organization, and they did what was best for De'Aaron Fox and his family. So we'll leave it at that. We will leave it at that. So right now, it's time to embrace the Zach LaVine era, which I have already did. It's time to move on. I was fortunate enough to be in on a Chatty House podcast last night. We were talking about the trade, probably a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours after the trade was made. So I want to thank Manny, Tasha, and Kyron for inviting me on the show. And I had my insight and my aspects and my thoughts and my opinion about the trade and what's going forward with the future, which I don't know. I still want to question the organization about a few things. I know there was a statement put out about the draft today by Monty McNair, but I still have some question of what direction you guys want to go with this organization. What are we trying to do here? Now that De'Aaron Fox has moved on. Still want to know what we're going to do here in the future. You have 3 draft picks that you can use as capital to move on for another acquisition. Yes, you can do that. But what are we trying to do here? What are we trying to do here? So hopefully we'll get those answers, those questions answered here soon. I know I don't expect the front office to speak on it until probably after February the 6th, which is coming up, And so we should be able to get those type of answers. Anyway, I'll say it again. It's the Zach LaVine era. Let's get going with that. I know there was some questions, from the panel, the Chatty House that I'm talking about, as far as what direction the Kings should be going. And that immediately right there, I knew that had to be taken care of. So we'll find out what's happening moving forward. Yeah, it's been tough. And then, as you know, the day before that, way out the blue, received word that Luka Doncic for the Dallas Mavericks, he was traded to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis. So the NBA is going through some changes. It is definitely going through some changes. So there was 2. Well, I would consider the Doncic deal definitely a blockbuster trade. I don't know so much about the Kings side of the ball with De'Aaron Fox, because everybody knew he was about to be moved on. At least he should have been traded, before the deadline. So that did happen. But there was 2 big trades that happened over the weekend, and it's probably the most activity that happened in a few years. I know the world is still waiting to hear what's going to become of Jimmy Butler down there with the Miami Heat, South Florida. Hopefully we'll be hearing something about that real soon. I know his destination, at least from what I gathered through reports, that he wants to be in Phoenix. Who knows? Who knows? Damian Lillard wanted to be in Miami. He ended up in Milwaukee. So who knows what's going to happen with it. So it's a pretty big thing that's going on with the NBA at this time, which I think is pretty good for the product. Really what it's telling me, no player is untouchable in this league. If it's time to go, it's time to go. And I said this too, with the members of the Chatty House. This, to me, is a 15-year era that's coming to an end. DeMarcus Cousins was drafted by the Sacramento Kings in 2010 out of Kentucky, number 5th pick overall. He spent 7 seasons here. A few months later, after he was traded out here to New Orleans Pelicans, then the Kings were able to land De'Aaron Fox out of Kentucky in 2017, 19-year-old. So now with this Zach LaVine era starting, and that's where I'm starting at right now, starts a whole different chapter. Whole different chapter. And the reason why I say that, because after Rick Adelman had moved on as the head coach of these Sacramento Kings in May 2006, there was a lot of inactivity that was going on there. I know Kevin Martin was already in play, but he wasn't that superstar. He was a really great player for the Kings, but he wasn't going to reach that level of stardom or superstardom, in my opinion. So there were some missing years there. I mean, we have Ron Artest, who I believe changed his name to Meta World Peace, and I believe it's still that. We had Ron Artest here for a brief moment, but that was brief. That was a short period. Things didn't really pick back up until DeMarcus Cousins was drafted. And mind you, a year before that, Tyreke Evans was drafted in 2009, number 5th. I think he was the number 5th pick in that draft in 2009. I think that was a Stephen Curry draft as well. So Tyreke Evans wasn't here that long. He ended up, after his rookie year, he signed an offer sheet with the New Orleans Pelicans, and that's where he bounced off to for his next journey in his career. So you had DeMarcus right up into 2017 after he was drafted, and he was a 2-time All-Star. He was on the Olympic team, got a gold medal, but not much in terms of winning. Not much in terms of winning, because I'm sure that he had more losses than he had wins here wearing a Sacramento uniform, as did De'Aaron Fox. That's why I'm kind of pleased that he's able to go on to a more stable winning organization so he can get that feel, entering the prime of his career. So we'll see what happens with him. We'll follow him definitely, but right now it's all about the Sacramento Kings. It's all about what we have right now. That's DeMar DeRozan, Malik Monk, Domantas Sabonis, Devin Carter, I'm going to throw him in there. Keon Ellis, going to throw him in there. These are basically the core players that I'm looking at right now. The Kings were also able to get in that draft from San Antonio, Sidi Sissoko, excuse me, folks. I'm terrible with that part of it. Sidi, I had a chance to view him in a G League game at Golden One Center. I think it was December 28th. And that was Devin Carter's professional debut in the G League before he was pulled up, to play the Kings about 2 games later. And CD in that game that they played the Stockton Kings had 19 points in the first half. And I was impressed because he was shooting jumpers. He was getting baskets he was getting shots under the basket. He was making shots under the basket. Got a couple dunks. He was doing pretty much everything. We did have a conversation with the Chatty House, Evan Townsend, who was really familiar with the San Antonio Spurs, and he was telling us that CD is a positionless player. He could play 4 spots. And so meaning he could play a little point guard. He's 6'6", 200 pounds. I think he's 21 years old. He started with the G League Ignite, and then he was drafted by San Antonio Spurs with the 44th pick in the 2023 draft. Now, I know it was just a G League game that I had witnessed, but I believe there's a lot of potential there. There's still a lot of development there with this young man, but I think they're going to pull him up to the 15-man roster real quick. And maybe if he goes down for whatever reason, that will be part of his development process. I'm okay with that. At least the Stockton Kings fans will get a chance to see that. But the Kings fans will definitely get to see him as well. That's just how I feel about this young man. He's He's a Frenchman, Senegalese. So his family is from Senegal, basically. And he's been on a couple. He's been on a few 18 and under division teams in that league. So he has a lot of experience here. All he needs is some NBA experience, and hopefully he can get that here in Sacramento. So we definitely do want to throw that out. But this is the Zach LaVine era that we're moving into. That I do know. That 15-year span that I had to work with, cover, some great players, great talent. To me, great men. And DeMarcus Cousins and De'Aaron Fox has ended. So now we're into this next phase. Let's see what happens. Hopefully the Kings, are still committed to winning. No, I shouldn't say that. I know they're committed to winning with this organization because I know the fans want that as well. So let's see what happens on here. I do want to thank you for stopping in for another episode of On the Cutting Room Floor. I'm your host, Tony Ray Harvey, and I'm here to talk about the new era, the Zach LaVine era, from here on out for the rest of the season. Yes, yeah. I'm pretty relaxed now because though there is some more time to go these next 3 days, because there could be another trade with the Sacramento Kings, and it's highly likely that can happen. It's highly likely that can happen. I'm just glad that this is a new journey that we are going into, at least as far as the fans and the media coverage that will be handed down as well. Hopefully we'll get an interview with the general manager here pretty soon too, coming out the front office. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of On the Cutting Room Floor. I love you all. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Okay, tell your friends I'm here. Probably won't be talking for, probably want to air another one of these for, well, yeah, that's right. They got one game here, then they're on the road, then they're back here. So you will hear from me soon. Thanks for stopping in, folks. But I got to get up out of here. Peace.